Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Night After Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and
I'm Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
And we're covering episode 1 of The Cruise, aka An Affair to Forget. This is the first part of a 2-part episode, the show's very first 2-parter. And it was directed by Alan Rafkin and written by Chris Thompson, at least the first part was. And I bet you Chris has some facts about them both.
I do a little bit this time around. So Chris Thompson, the author of this episode, as well did Airport 59. He will go on to write a heck of a lot more episodes of the show, including an infamous one that's actually already been mentioned on our Twitter, actually quite a while ago, because we record a lot of these episodes ahead of time. And as mentioned before, Chris Thompson was also the creator of Bosom Buddies, thus another Penny Marshall connection via Tom Hanks. So with regards to Alan Rafkin, you know, I've been struggling as I've been going through season 3 and figuring out like how to talk more about this guy, because he's a guy who did all these episodes, and after a certain point, like, what more do you mention? So we'll try to sprinkle in some factoids along the way. As mentioned on the pod at some point, he did win an Emmy for One Day at a Time in 1982. And as well, he received a Cable Ace Award for work on The Gary Shandling Show. And given how much time he spent working on Laverne and Shirley, I've been wondering if, was this a case of him as a favor, steady work, something like that. And also just the fact that it seemed like it was a bit of a proving ground, and we'll come back to him with some other facts in later episodes. And probably like the next episode, we'll come back to that thought. But Rafkin, though, he... was clearly one of the main spearheads of why season 3 starts off so strong and continues developing, especially in this episode. But we'll see what other facts and trivia I'm able to milk out of this, because oh boy, we have a lot more Rafkin coming.
We definitely have another connection between this show and Bosom Buddies, because Penny does a cameo as herself on Bosom Buddies.
Oh, well,
somewhere around the very end of the show's run. She played herself. It was a really nice little cameo to her. So it's very funny. If you ever look it up, it's really cute.
Yeah, as someone who never saw Bosom Buddies, I'm out of the loop on that one.
God, I was obsessed with it when I was like 5 or 6. I don't know why. I don't know what this says about me, but I was obsessed with it when I was a little kid. And here's what the episode is about. In the first part of Laverne and Shirley's first ever 2-parter, the girls decided to take a glamorous cruise on the Great Lakes, with our short $50 for the tickets due to multiple impulsive and/or necessary purchases for the apartments. In desperation, they turned to Carmine for help getting a temporary job and end up working a disastrous one at a children's shoe store. Broken depressed, they try to bury their wounds in pizza, only to receive a special surprise from Frank. As soon as it seems all will be smooth sailing, Lenny and Squiggy arrive at the door of their cabin and announce that they've stowed away the fence that might get them all kicked off of the ship. So what do you think of this one?
Interesting. That children's shoe store is terrifying to me. It's terrifying in the same way like the Hansel and Gretel house in the 2006 Paul Walker movie Running Scared. So there were moments I kept wondering when Vera Farmiga was going to come in toting a gun trying to save the children.
Now you just make me think of Confessions of a Trick Baby, that one with Natasha Lyonne in it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
I am the architect of Babe, bitch. Sending down that mental rabbit hole. Oh.
But, yeah, with regards to the episode, it was interesting to see that basically ostensibly a 2-parter about a cruise ends up spending like a good, like, God, what is it, like almost 15 or 16 minutes on the toy store on this completely different part of the plot, basically, like this. Yeah. I understand it's a means to an end, but I thought it was interesting that it was almost like they sort of wrangled 2 episodes together, in some respects.
Yeah. It kind of feels like they had an A plot that they pasted onto this B plot in a lot of ways. You had the idea of the girls being broke and going to the shoe store and trying to snag the extra cash and deal with all these bratty kids and wearing the dorky costumes. On the other hand, you got the whole cruise idea. The whole cruise idea becomes much better realized in the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It almost feels like you could lop off the first 15 minutes of this and have a better thought line from one episode to the next. But,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But it's still cute.
It is cute. Yeah. No, it's not that. Yeah, and it just felt just kind of odd. But in any case, though, there's still a lot I love about it. I mean, I love the whole opening of, of course, Edna, and Edna's pants were amazing. They totally stole that scene for me. And that's because of the color, for once, not just because I find her attractive. But
Betty Garrett could get it. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, she totally. But I love the I mean, that whole conversation, that whole setup is great. I love it, and I love the double entendre that Betty says perfectly. I mean, even my mom got a laugh out of this, which was like, whoa, Mom, is the men love pounding. And it's just another one of those, oh boy. So
Yeah.
And like even the bit of, Lenny and Squiggy being broke and, I'd evict them, but I'd never be able to root the room again. They painted the inside of the toilet black.
Shirley knew. It's been rumored around the building for years. Like, how did she know? Why are they talking about this?
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead, please. No, please go ahead. I was talking a bunch. You go ahead, please.
I was going to say this episode has a perfect door gag. This is the most disgusting thing that's ever happened to us. Hello. Come on. Perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely perfect.
God. And I love the bit where they notice all this, because this is after Shirley has tossed all the money. And my note here is in all caps, Shirley, careful with the cash. And sure enough, that pays off the very next moment.
The boys nearly kill themselves and each other trying to grab the money because they owe cash for the rent.
Yep, exactly.
And almost nearly knee each other in various places.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to the ultimate capper of the scene. Laverne threatens to tell everyone that they've never voted do. And he just sticks his head in and goes, "Oh yeah, I got witnesses."
I love that.
Like,
that was great. Yeah. My reaction to that was the whoa, and you could definitely hear that whoa from some members of the audience.
Yeah.
But I was amazed by my mother's taking a second to catch how that it took a second for it to dawn on her face, and that was particularly humorous to me. But yeah, no, that's an excellent moment, and that's kind of the interesting bummer about the in some respects about the episode is that it's by getting so distracted with the shoe store is that you also miss out on the fact that this is a really good setup to that cruise episode, because it shows how over the line these boys go. So it's even kind of establishing within its own narrative how the boys have these bad boundaries. So of course they're going to stow away at the end. It's a good payoff to that. It becomes a good payoff to that first scene then. God. And I have another note here, and this will come up, I think, again another couple of episodes, but it's that's right. It's because of when Carmine gets them a job at Uncle Tom's. Which, that name.
Bye, Uncle Tom.
But it's, my note is, wait a second, Carmine, are you a gangster or what?
Well, as we're about to find out in a few episodes, he does have some small-time hood connections. But he becomes very, very offended when you dare suggest that he's in deep with the mob. So,
right.
Yeah,
he's. I mean, it's at that point you're on the verge of connected, because it's on the verge of it. It's he's one marriage away practically, from being untouchable.
Yeah. We know he knows how to get hot appliances.
Mm-hmm.
This is canon. It's been established. He knows how to get clock radios and toasters and TVs on the cheap because they've been ripped off.
Yep, and cameras, as this episode teaches us at the very end.
Yep. Exactly.
So that actually reminds me. So the actor who plays Uncle Tom, did you recognize him?
Kind of, but I couldn't place his face.
Okay, so he was a part of the Ace Trucking Company comedy group, which of course, with Fred Willard. He tons of TV appearances and stuff. However, in the early 70s, he used to be more active in the New York scene of acting and comedy and things like that. He's in Mean Streets and Phantom of the Paradise.
Huh.
His name is
Things I
George
didn't
Mamoli.
know.
He is in Mean Streets. He's the guy who refuses to pay because he says we don't pay mooks, which I believe in that context is not being used as a slur. I know that term could be used as a slur in some circles, but it's a I believe in the mobster world it's typically it's a nobody. You're a nothing. You're you're unworthy of a name. But yeah, George Mamoli is his name, and yes, he's in Mean Streets and Fan of the Paradise, and I find that amazing. He sadly died in 1985 at only the age of 46.
Well, that's too bad.
And okay, just before I forget, I know someone's going to mention him being in Rocky. I tragically have not seen Rocky, so
Yes.
yeah, I
Go
know.
see Rocky. Go see Rocky within the next week. You need to see Rocky. It's so good. It's so
Okay,
good.
I will.
Don't
Yeah.
deprive yourself of that experience.
Yeah, I'm going to at some point because I know I mean my parents both love that movie. Everyone, I mean, my lead actor on my first feature film, was like, I mean, he glared for like a good 10 seconds, and then his eyes lit up when he realized, oh, I could try to show them to you. You see you experiencing them for the first time, and that never happened, of course.
They air all the time, and they're on Encore, I think, at the moment. I'm not entirely sure, but see the first few Rocky movies. You will love them. I love them.
I know.
Watch them.
Okay, I will watch them.
I was gonna say, I love how this establishes how the girls are gonna handle this cruise. Shirley wants to get married. She's looking for a husband.
Mm-hmm.
While she's looking for a husband on board the ship, which is filled with sailors, and she doesn't want to marry a sailor like her dad, I don't know. We established that in the second part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Laverne's just looking to have fun. She's just looking to kiss a bunch of sailors. And I admire her for that idea. So that becomes immediately and clearly delineated from the first 15 minutes of the episode. So I thought it was neat.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I adore that about the episode. It makes and I love how they keep coming back to it. There's that moment of there's that exchange in the toy store. It's no, you're thinking of sailors. I'm always thinking of sailors. I love that.
That is a Laverne DeFazio character trait. She really is always thinking of sailors.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll become more and more established as we get deeper and deeper into canon. But yeah.
Yep.
Going back to why the whole shoe store bit exists in this episode, I think it's because they were kind of starved for physical comedy, especially with the girls in it. Because it basically exists for no other reason other than to have a lot of slapstick. When we get to the boat portion of the episode, the boys mostly do most of the slapstick.
Good point.
You get Squiggy stuck in the smoke, the exhaust pipe. It's an exhaust pipe. I think it's an exhaust pipe.
It's something like that.
Is it
Yeah.
stack? Is it steam stack? Yeah. I don't know what you would call something that small. Is this a bilge pipe? Am I thinking a bilge pipe? I do not know my boat terms, y'all. I'm not super versed on boat terms. But yes.
I'm doing a little Google action. You can go ahead and keep on going.
But the boys do most of the physical comedy and them lifting up all the pizza bowl, trying to find money underneath the pizza, thinking that every single pie in the place has money underneath it, not realizing that it's a nice gesture from Frank to his daughter. But all the memorable physical bits belong to the boys, so this is kind of tacked on in a way, or it feels like it was tacked on in a way, almost to give the girls an equal amount of physical things to do.
Right.
This is what it feels like.
Yeah. And what was interesting was that, I'm curious how much time was able to be spent on these kind of scenes of this particular episode, because I noticed it felt like there was more coverage in this, which is to say there were more shots, there was more cutting, even especially like the way you see the staging of the edit for the dollar scene when the boys come in, they see the money, and there's that look down, look up, look down, look up, moment before they scramble. That's more crafted than I'm used to seeing on this show, and that's something that requires a little more time, a little more setup, and then even on the sequence in the toy store when the ribbon gets loose. And
Yes.
the couple goes, the mom and kid, and then she gets on the bus and yoink, and then and then
Yeah.
there's insert shots and close ups and the axe and all that. Like there's so much more detail in the sequence. There's more beats, there's more blocking involved, and so I'm curious how much time was spent on that. As you're saying, like to beef
Yeah.
up the girls' element of the show, and also was just a case of like maybe was it either Rafkin or was it even the producers starting to say like maybe we should try to make this a little punchier so it's not just a bunch of talking people on a soundstage.
Yeah. I'm wondering if, because they had a larger set, they had more time to block, or they had to block everything differently. That might be the key here. Because the whole deck of the ship is kind of bigger than any of the other sets that they've had to work with so far. We're going to get even bigger as time goes on. Because even though the show never ever really leaves the Paramount lot, it never ever really leaves its studio, I think the closest we get to them ever really leaving that building is the remote shoot they did for You're in the Army now in season 5. And I think that was filmed at the Paramount Ranch. I'm almost 100% sure it was. But this was not a traveling show. Happy Days got to go everywhere. Happy Days went a lot of places and did a lot of remote work. And this show did not. So when you see a giant set like this one, it's kind of the only opportunity that directors and a director like Rafkin would get to kind of manipulate different angles and do different blocking and set things up a different way, bring different actors in, and give them an opportunity of that size.
Good point.
Because it was not a traveling show, like I just said. It just, it did not go a lot of places.
They did not put shoes on it. It was not going for a walk.
They just, I don't know if it was the behind the scenes tumult. Might have been the behind the scenes tumult. I don't know if it was fact that they couldn't afford. They had to have had the budget. I'm gonna strike that idea from the record. They had to have had the budget. They were the number one show in the country. So I don't know what happened, but it appears that they were very set bound, and so it's probably to a director a plum opportunity. You'd know you're a director.
Well, depending with directors, I do find it just depends on what they're comfortable with. I mean, I've heard some people say, like Leone, going to like Italian directors, Leone loved being on location. He absolutely adored it. That's why he loved doing like Once Upon a Time in the West was so freeing for him to just kind of find his zone. And then on the flip side, Mario Bava hated where he said, I had to do one spaghetti Western. He said, I hated it. I go to Almeria. I have no control over the light. Couldn't stand it. And he said, I want to do soundstage. So even his exteriors, as much as he could, he did on sound stages.
Yeah.
And they're both very different kinds of movies, in terms of the aesthetic of them, but it was what they were comfortable with, and they create a certain look. And it may have just been that the look that they wanted for Laverne and Shirley is a little more set bound, because it does make it more theater, stage theater. And as we've said, there's a vaudevillian influence, which you actually really get to see in the third act of this, the bits on the boat. So much. And next episode, my God, is straight up, Marx Brothers / Gentlemen Prefer Blondes,
Yes, definitely.
So
Definitely.
it just feels like I'm wondering if it's kind of in that direction of just a number of different factors in the choice. As you're saying, budget doesn't seem like it was necessarily the limitation, and just gave that. Speaking of budget though and timing, one of the things I'm also amazed by, is that they obviously had a lot of time to choreograph the physical comedy and the dance numbers.
The dance number, yes.
Edna and Carmine at the end. That moment is so good.
That was so good. We get several more moments where the two of them get to dance together. There's another moment happening. It's gonna happen this season. There's going to be one, I think, in season 4, and I'm pretty sure in season 5, the two of them get to dance together. And I know for a fact that season 5 it happens at the Shots Talent Show.
Nice.
The season 5 Shots Talent Show, the two of them do tap dance together.
Oh, fantastic.
Whenever the show had an opportunity to put the two of them together dancing, they did it. I gotta give them credit for that because it's always entertaining. Always, always, always. Betty and Eddie just hit every time. And this is just one of the very first examples of them getting to do so. It's really good.
Very good. Yeah. Excellent. And the speaking of dancing, I'm in awe that they actually went for the dancing tattoo, the tattoo lady.
Yeah.
Make a dance. Oh my god.
Everything about Laverne aboard that ship is gold. Like Frank telling her not to wiggle, and then she just wiggles even more dramatically. Just to annoy him. That's great.
And I love Edna's advice. Don't play hard to get. You don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. I love Edna Babish. She is the best character. Y'all can fight me on that one. I love her so much.
I refuse to
good.
fight on that for multiple reasons, but number one of which is Edna is pretty amazing, and it's one of those.
She really is.
She kind of is my favorite
really
character. She kind of is my favorite character, all things considered. Like, you know, there's elements I love about Laverne and Lenny as well, but I think Edna just keeps winning me over again and again and again. And God, I love that Frank and Edna are going steady at this point, and the whole you know, and the way she squishes his face. It's like, I'm the boss. Yeah, sure you are, honey. It's so cute.
You still got it, and you still have to use it.
She wants to go make out in one of the lifeboats, right?
Yes. Yeah. I love the line, you still got it, and you still know how to use it. Remember that?
Yes.
That was great. That was great. I mean, again, the best character. The boys are almost a little pervier than they've been previously, even though they've been pretty pervy, and I get even more pervy. Like, they're just grabbing random women on the deck of this boat. Mm-hmm. It's like, we can grab Shirley anytime.
Oh, God, that line made me so uncomfortable. It's like,
it'll be worse. It'll be worse.
Could be worse. Yeah. No,
it's gonna get worse. Wait till season 6. Keep waiting.
Oh God. So that's less of the Jaws theme and more of like the creeping terror. I'm seeing this monster carpet just wiggle around underneath the bushes.
Just quietly chomping down dancers. Clop, clop, clop.
Anybody needs a good time, go look up The Creeping Terror. There's a great MST3K episode of that.
Yes. So that's what Lemon Demon meant by cars having sex and trucks having sex. That's what it looks like. Trucks having sex. Bog, bog, bog. Anyway. The boys do have a lot of great lines in this episode. Like Lenny going, how can I calm down when your boy's eating my friend when Squiggy gets shoved into that exhaust pipe
Yep.
for being pervy and grabbing a woman. That's a really good one. I loved him going, thanks for the lift, sailor, when he gets yanked out. That's Squiggy. A lot of great Squiggy delivery in this episode. David nails a lot of these lines to the wall.
My entire life flashed before my eyes. God, that's good.
In the middle of the night, when it's dark. I went a little too teenage mother there, but yeah, that's the general gist of the line delivery. When it's dark. Teenage mother spells 9 months of hello.
Which is, yeah. And if anybody's wondering why we sometimes mention Teenage Mother, because that will come up again, Fred Willard's in it. Cut us some slack. It's also one of the most classic 60s grindhouse trailers you can ever find. Yes. Don't recommend the movie. The movie is it's not for the faint of heart, but it's also just it's very boring.
Yeah. It's also garbage. I mean, come on, let's be real.
Yeah.
And I love garbage. I am not anti-garbage, but it is garbage.
Yeah. That's the thing. But anyway, there was something I was going to mention here.
I was going to explain the trailer. The trailer has an announcer with a very, very, very Brooklyn accent. It's like being yelled at by your old school Brooklyn Catholic father while you watch this trailer. Teenage
Oh,
mother means 9 months of trouble.
It's so good.
That's
Yeah.
what it is. Just look it up. That's all you need to see. That's all you need to hear. It's great. Just for that alone.
God, I'm like looking at how much we've been going to this episode for about 26 minutes, and we're like at the point of like I think, you know, because I almost like feel like we're winding down, and part of it is that, you know, when it comes to this two-parter, the interesting thing is that it's a very, as you were mentioning, this is something that can be compressed, that could have been compressed.
Yes.
Or almost like they needed like a double stuff episode for the second part, and because you easily could have, you know, just kind of compressed a couple things in the second episode and combined the two, or compressed a little bit of this part of the cruise and made a singular episode, because the real meat, and we'll get to it in the next time around, is that the meat of it is on the cruise itself. When they're out on the lake, I almost said out at sea, but when they're out on the lake,
it might as well be the sea. It's like for all the shots, and we get the boat going out majestically and towards the sunset. It looks like the ocean because that's what the stock footage they bought.
Oh, it's quite possible, yeah. I mean, I do know because I've had friends that live in Michigan send me pictures of the lake, and it looks like the ocean. Like the only thing that is like, if you don't, there are subtle differences. I don't know exactly how to describe them. Having been to the Pacific Coast and having seen these photographs, but the haze, I think, is the thing that looks a little different on the horizon. But it's a case of that. Yeah, it is definitely funny when you see that stock and you're thinking, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. It kind of feels like you're looking at the ocean.
Yeah.
We will leave that up to our viewers to determine. Go ahead, look up the episode.
Yeah, we'll make that a poll instead of it being about like a this or that. You know, it's a this or that poll. It's like, does that look like the ocean? Yeah, nah. But anyway,
yeah, I was gonna mention one more thing. Just one more thing. I love that Squiggy offers up his moths to the girls in a desperate attempt at getting in on this cruise trip.
some of them are breeders.
Some of the breeders, yes.
They're dead, lady. They're dead. Oh, God.
Oh, honey.
Yeah. I also do want to point out Frank's generosity, you know, and I love his. I do agree, and I understand his his reason about why he doesn't just give the money right away. It's like, of course I yell. What, everybody's gonna be coming to me for money if I don't yell. Yeah. And my mom did snicker at is this some Italian custom I don't understand?
Yeah.
But you know, it always touches my heart when Phil Foster delivers that line, "You're my muffin." Whenever he says something like that, it always just, you know.
I know.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's the big softy line, you know, from Cheryl's how I feel.
Yeah. Frank in dad mode is one of the show's sweetest things, especially when he's a dad to Shirley, because Shirley does not have a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
We have met her crappy dad.
Mm-hmm.
We know what he is like, and the fact that he is there to step in and help her and take care of her, just like he takes care of his own flesh and blood, is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see that coming up in Shirley's operation. It's super sweet. I really like it whenever it happens.
Yeah. It always is precious to me. I mean, even, you know, we talked about this on Fake Out at the Stakeout when they got robbed, and he's like, all right, you're both moving in with me. Because even to him, it's not about control. It is about, you are my kids, both of yous, and I'm looking out for you.
Yeah.
You know, and there's that line, you know, in season 2 with Frank's fling about, you know, the daughters, you know, it's like, I got 2. That's what daughters do. They meddle, you know, and that just, So there's a really cute little moment here, at least, of that, which is definitely worth it. It's one of these episodes that it's like, when I try to analyze it, I find myself picking it apart too much, but when I watch it, I get sucked in. Yeah.
It's a really sweet little episode. I wouldn't call it necessary. It's not a must-watch episode, but it's a cute episode. It's a nice and offensive episode.
Right.
So
Excuse me. Yawn. Yep.
I would put this. We're gonna do rankings. I think it's time to do rankings.
Well, I did want to ask, do we have thoughts on the montage of the next week on Laverne and Shirley?
I love that they included that on DVD because sometimes those get completely chopped out. Depending on your DVD, depending on your edit, depending on your cut of an episode, it will be completely gone. So I just laughed at that, and I laughed at the little clips that they picked. They try really hard to put the audience in suspense because, oh my gosh, Shirley might get married. Oh my gosh, the boys are going to get thrown off the ship. Oh my gosh, Spoogie's kissing Shirley. What's going to happen? Nobody knows unless you tune in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really good. It's a great tease. What I thought was most clever was its use of one-liners to like get, as you're saying, like just like there's this and then there's this, then there's this. So just use one choice piece of dialogue and bam, sells it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was really nice. I always love those little bonus additions. When we get over towards season 4 and season 5, we start getting syndicated commercials for each episode attached to the DVD sets. So we get to see some of those as we go along.
Well, we'll take that paint, that excited paint off the shelf there, and just go ahead and dunk it all over me.
Hey, I love season 4 and season 5. We've got some gems coming up. Some absolute gems.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just saying, color me excited. It's good. It's a good time.
I'll consider you an Easter egg of enthusiasm.
Oh boy. Okay, that's
Easter egg of enthusiasm, y'all.
That's cute.
All shiny with your stripes and glitter, like a pass kit.
Oh God, not the glitter. Don't you know the four stages of glitter? Step 1, use glitter. Step 2, try to clear glitter. Step 3, move away to get away from the glitter. Step 4, it followed you. It's your life now.
Pass, the big Easter egg company, the coloring company, they absolutely sell kits with glitter in them, dye kits that include glitter. So buy those for your kids, y'all.
Okay, that is okay. That's history. So I guess George Trevor of the Resident Evil franchise has a challenger to world's greatest monster.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna show it to you because I know it exists. Oh yeah, it exists.
Gosh. But anyway, yeah. So do you have your number in mind for the ranking for this one?
Yes, I do. This one is roughly a 5.6 to me. It's got a lot of cute stuff in it. The physical comedy is a lot of fun. The emotional parts work. The boys have a lot of really nice lines. That dance number with Eddie and Betty is perfect. But it's kind of disjointed. The way it flows doesn't really work very well. It's not a particularly necessary episode, but it's a nice episode. So, right in the middle of the pack for me.
Yeah, I would say kind of similar. I'm going to give it a 0.5 bonus just for George Mamoli as Uncle Tom, just because it is such a wacky character, and I just really like seeing him in there. As well, Chekhov's axe, that was cool. I love that I called that as we were watching the episode.
Yes, I remember that. Oh my gosh, Chekhov's axe. Just like, yep, gotta wait for it.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But yeah, so it's but I totally agree. It's like it's an episode that, like, especially when you see the next time on Laverne and Shirley, you realize they could have gotten all of the exposition done just at the beginning of the stowaway, of them coming in as stowaways. They could have gotten all that done and started on the boat and just forgotten all the rest of it.
Exactly. They could have saved time. They could have conserved the energy of this episode and kind of put it somewhere else. But ABC loved stunt episodes. They love two-parters like this. Happy Days did like a three-parter. I think 2 3-parters. And may even be 3 3-parters. They did a lot of multi-part episodes. And they were ratings gimmicks that worked. So naturally, it was going to be something that got taken into Laverne and Shirley, spread along to them. So, not surprising that this is what they did.
Yep. Yeah, I'm checking. It doesn't look like it happened during sweeps. It was in November when it aired, so I think it was just kind of they were just doing a good
No,
gimmick.
November sweeps. November sweeps.
Say again?
Yeah. November sweeps. That's
Okay.
That would be a sweeps stunt. Yeah. November and May were both sweeps periods.
Okay.
Back before
Gotcha.
ye old internet, ye old cable.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that would have been
Cool.
stunt. Yeah.
All right. So today TIL. Today I learned.
Yes. Our brains are getting bigger and juicier as we go along.
Sweet and delicious. It's all cinnamony as which. Anyway.
Yes.
So I guess so that's it for today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That would be it for this episode.
Cool. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us for Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, please join us on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Patreon, please, or YouTube. We can be found at Night After Night PC on Twitter and Night After Night Pod on places like WordPress, Facebook, and Tumblr. And please do consider helping us with the Patreon because there's some other stuff we'd like to do, but it kind of takes some resources. There's some bonus episodes we'd like to do and things like that. And so it just kind of helps give us a little bit more of the breathing room to be able to get to those a little sooner. Is more of the specifics of the situation. But anywho, I think that's the main way to get in touch with us. Oh, and you also can reach us at nightafterNightPod@gmail.com if you would like to leave us a direct comment. Please let us know what you think. And so, Lisa, what's I guess. Actually, I was about to ask what's the next episode just on habit, and I realized, wait a minute, we already know what's next time on Laverne and Shirley.
Yep. This two-parter wraps up. Shirley meets a handsome ensign. Laverne gets seasick, and the boys try to avoid the fuzz. This is the cruise part 2.
Excellent. Well, I hope you'll all join us for that, and please keep your distance. We don't believe in the custom of kissing before a voyage. Social distancing.
Yeah. Do not puke in each other's mouths either.
Ugh.
As the next episode will tell us, this is a bad idea. Okay, bye now.
Okay, I'm just gonna waddle over here now. I'm just gonna hit the stop button.